Hello fellas, and welcome back. I know it's been a while, but today I actually have something new coming out, and today we are looking at the fantastic model Margh. It's just a third-party version of Ultra Magnus. You guys might know that character. And I don't know if that's exactly how you pronounce his name, but it's gotta be close. So anyway, before we look too deep into the figure, we may as well get started on the accessories. So starting off, you get Magnus's blaster. You get the axe for the albino prime mode, as MGO would say. You get some alternate pieces for his chest, a runner that is full of different eyes, and all of his alternate faces, and I don't remember if there was a runner attached at first. An alternate head sculpt that makes his face half damaged. And finally, you get his shoulder cannons, and you can take the rockets out of them. Now, right away, grabbing the blaster, you can kind of press on a little notch that's there to expose the handle. I don't know why I was struggling so bad when I recorded this, but there we go. You can kind of then get your fingernail into a little notch up there and pull down the handle, and then you can put the tab, whichever orientation you need to, for whether you want it to be in his right or his left hand. And you get it set up, and you just plug it right into his hand. If past me could do it very well. And then, you wrap the fingers around him. Boom, there you go. So cool, he's holding his gun. So now, if you decide to grab the shoulder cannons, and you rotate Magnus, you can see that they plug right into his shoulder. I know, very surprising, very shocking. And for some reason, the left shoulder has a little peg on it. I don't really understand what it's used for. It doesn't actually plug in with that peg that sticks out. You guys could barely see it. But there he has his shoulder cannons. Now for his alternate headpiece, you have to get your hands in there and rip his face off. And by face, I mean his whole head. You can see it just slides right off. It's not that difficult to do. And then you bring in this very nicely painted and detailed alternate head, which has the exposed albino prime face to it. And you can then put the head onto the little nub thing that's still there. Anyway, you put his head back on and boom, there you go. You got the alternate head on there. And now we're gonna just go over the alternate faces while we're at it. But first, looking at the head sculpt in general, it looks very good and very accurate to G1 Ultra Magnus. But to swap out his faces, you have to rip off the top of his helmet and the face itself. You can then take the face off, and if you want to leave the eyes there, you can, but the eyes do attach kind of to the face. They will fall off if you're not careful, and then you can bring in an alternate face. You can then reattach the face to the crest, as well as then attaching that to his head. And after that, you can then reattach his head to his body with the alternate face. Now, before we put the faces away, we're going to look over all of the alternate ones. There are two of the basic, just neutral looks. Then you have a yelling face and a smiling face. You then have a frowning with a mouth open face. I really don't know what expression that is, maybe shock. And then finally the angry looking face that I put on his head. And all of these did come in a plastic bag, and I recommend just keeping every single one of them in the plastic bag. I also did take the eyes off the runners to attach them to each individual face. And there you can see the empty runner, and I showed how the eyes attached. It's not a very secure way of attaching things. In fact, right after I was done recording, like, pretty much all the eyes fell off, but they're in the bag, thankfully. And now for what I believe is the final accessory, we have the alternate chest pieces, which, just to get rid of the translucent windows on his chest, and personally, I prefer the look of the solid plastic one, so I'm gonna have it on for the rest of the video. By default, he comes with the transparent ones, but again, it's my preference, so I'm just gonna keep it on the way that I am putting it together right now. And here is Magnus with his accessories on, and the shoulder cannons definitely improve the look and make him look a lot more like Ultra Magnus should. Another thing I really enjoy about this figure is that he is made with a lot of die-cast metal. He is nice and heavy and very sturdy. Essentially, every single joint you see is made with die-cast metal, really adding to the weight, and with the size of the figure, it really does add up. And real quick, since we're talking about stability, his shoulders out of the box were way too loose, so I had to tighten up the grip, and luckily it did work. The super glue did work to tighten the grip, but it was a pain in the ass to get out the screw covers, and I ended up doing a bit of damage to the figure, which is unfortunate, but fortunately it's on the back, and I did get them to tighten up. Hopefully nobody else has that problem, but that is something to look out for. Since we're talking about posability, he has a hinge joint swivel at the head. He can look up pretty far, down not that far, and he has a full 360 at the head. He has a ratcheted shoulder that can do a full 360. His arms are very weird to move out, but there is a double joint there that can move out. He has a well over 90-degree bend at the elbow. You can see the base of the ball joint on his hand, which allows for a wrist swivel and a little bit of a wiggle to his wrist. He does have a ball joint and 2 hinge joints on his thumb. He then has hinge joints so you can spread the fingers apart, kinda, sorta. And then he has 3 hinge joints on each of his fingers to compress his fist down quite a bit. And of course, all of them are individual. And if you come down to his crotch and disconnect his waist from his torso, you can get a limited waist swivel and a pretty good ab crunch. Now getting even lower, his leg can kick all the way out to the side with his hip skirt moving out of the way. And it can go a little bit over 90 degrees. And he can go back. And you do have to move 2 butt flaps out of the way for him to go back his full extent, and he can kick forward with the crotch flap getting out of the way. He then has a well over 90-degree bend at the knee, and there you can see all that die cast in his knee, and he has a spectacular ankle pivot. And now I'll just be giving you guys a look at some of the poses I got him in, using the aforementioned posability, which I do think is immaculate, especially for a figure of his size. I wasn't expecting him to be as posable as he was, and out of the box I was worried he didn't have a waist swivel. Fortunately, he does. You just have to kind of get the ab crunch involved the slightest bit before the waist swivel will actually activate. And now one last little thing before the size comparison is the fact that he does come with a matrix, and you have to open up his chest in order to access the albino prime chest, and then you can open that up to reveal the matrix chamber, and you can then lift up on the chamber there. Wow, I struggled bad. And there is the matrix, and it does come out way too easily, honestly. It is kind of a problem, especially when transforming the figure, but it is a die-cast matrix, and it is really good looking. The last matrix I have taken a look at on this channel is the Magic Swirl Light of Peace matrix, and that one is significantly worse than this one is. Absolutely beautiful matrix, and they went all out for someone who really didn't need a matrix. But speaking of the previously reviewed Magic Swirl Light of Peace, here is a size comparison between Margh and Light of Peace, and as you can see, pretty accurately, Magnus is much bigger. Masterpiece Bumblebee, again, significantly smaller, only coming up to the knee of Margh. And here's the Studio Series Magnus, and I don't hate him, but after getting Margh, I definitely don't like him as much as I did. And now, just because why not, here he is with the Transformers Prime Beast Hunters Ultra Magnus. And just, I have to admit to you guys, unfortunately, there will be no transformation sequence, as I just botched him up so bad. I do transform him to show off the difference, but I'm just not going to include the sequence. It was too incorrect, and I just didn't realize it until I put it in the editing, and I can't be bothered to go back and redo that. Anyway, getting back to him, here he is in his albino prime mode. And we can bring back his blaster, and this time you flip it upside down and pull down a handle that was on the top of it if he was in Magnus mode, and then you can tab it into his hand and wrap his fingers around it. It is kind of a snug fit in his hand. It is kind of a pain to get it in there, but there you go. Now he's got his blaster. So now bringing the axe into the equation, you need to fold his hand back into his arm, and there is a very particular way to orientate his hand. The instructions are very good, so you don't have to worry about the instructions not telling you how to, but just in case, there's a visual way, and then boom, you just plug his axe into where his hand would be. And now he has his axe and blaster, and again, the blaster doesn't have the greatest fit in his hand, but both do look very good. And now real quick, I'll just go over the articulation. Starting with the ankle for some reason, don't know why I recorded it with that, but he does still have a very good pivot. His head still has that full 360 rotation, but a improved up look, and he still can't look down very far. His arms can move out, and it is a nice ratchet. You get a full 360 at the shoulder. You get a ratcheted bicep swivel, and an over 90-degree bend at the elbow. And on the hand, you can see the ball joint, which can act as a swivel, and then a little bit of a wibble wobble. He does have a ball joint and hinge joint on the thumb, and then he has individual fingers, which are double hinged at the point of the finger. And again, if you move up Albino Prime's waist a little bit with the ab crunch, you can get a full 360 at the waist. This time he can actually hit the full 360, unlike Magnus. And as for his legs, they are all the same as Magnus. Now overall, the posability doesn't improve drastically, but it's really good posability for the Albino Prime. But I only got this one pose because I don't care to display him in this way. So let's get the size comparisons out of the way so we can transform. And here you can see him standing next to the Magic Square Light of Peace, and they are very similar in size. He is a slight bit bigger. And here he is standing next to the Masterpiece Bumblebee, and again, Bumblebee significantly smaller than Ultra Magnus. Here he is next to the relatively disappointing Studio Series Magnus. And finally, here he is with the greatest Ultra Magnus, the Transformers Prime Beast Hunters Magnus. And here is Margh in his truck mode, and he is big. I couldn't fit him on my my rotating disc thing, and it is a good-looking truck mode, you know, combined with the trailer, of course, but it's nothing special. He has rubber wheels. He rolls pretty okay. Other than that, there's not too much to say about his truck mode on its own. Now here he is compared to the Studio Series 86 Ultra Magnus, and again, Margh is he's pretty big, big enough in fact to be able to fit essentially the entirety of the SS86 onto just the trailer, and again, significantly better looking as well. And for the rest of the comparisons, we're gonna speed through them. Here is Masterpiece Bumblebee and the Transformers Prime Beast Hunters Ultra Magnus, and they can both fit on the trailer pretty snugly. And Light of Peace can't fit on the trailer as well, but there you can see him next to the cab of Margh, and they are very similar in size. Margh might be a little bit bigger on the tail end, and if you really wanted to, you can put the trailer onto Light of Peace, and there you go. And because I'm dumb and didn't show where you put on the shoulder rocket launchers, I have a little thing circling where you clip them on in vehicle mode. Anyway, that about does it for this video, so thank you guys for watching, and if you enjoyed, please subscribe. It would make my day, and if you want to watch more of the reviews, I have a playlist that should be popping up in the corner of the screen right about now. Again, thank you everybody for watching, and have a great day.